Hi and welcome to my PlayHouse, and once again I'm sitting in front of two big boxes, and these are Redodo batteries, and they're 24 volts 100 amp hours, and that's because I want to tell you about my power bank and batteries for my power system here in my house today, and how I'm planning to migrate it from older previous setup and over to the new setup, which it seems like everybody else is using. I did touch upon it in the last video about where I went through all the stuff that I've had done to my solar array and inverter and batteries and cabling and all that stuff. But first, there are some very special people out there, and one of my patrons, Thijs, he has sent me a box. It's one of those gluk gluk. You can't hear it, but it says gluk gluk when you turn it around upside down, and I'm pretty sure it's a ROM. So thank you very much, Thijs. We're gonna have a look at this. I'm saving it until Sunday, because on Sundays I am on Discord with my patrons, and then I'll be sure to open this up, and we'll see on Patreon what Thijs got me. So thank you, Thijs. But we're gonna get into these batteries. 2 times 24 volts in series becomes 48 volts, and I've bought some stuff so that I hope that I'm gonna be able to get there. But first, let's get these out of the boxes. And it's kind of a weird collaboration that I've done with Redodo this time, because Redodo is sponsoring one battery and I got the other one really cheap. So it's like half of this video, at least half of this video is sponsored. So I am obligated to tell you that, I believe. But now I did. So I'll get these out of the boxes, and we might just have a look at how usually they're really well packed. The reason why this collaboration came in place is because of Black Friday. Black Friday is just around the corner, and if you don't know, you might be able to pick up some batteries at a decent discount on Black Friday. Plus I do think I might have a discount code for you in the description. So it's not a box in a box, but it's a box with a lot of foam. And here is Redodo manuals, and we can see that this is the 25.6 volts, which is actually important because I said 24 volts, and this is actually not 24 volts, but it is actually 25.6 volts. And that is very important, because that's the reason why I'm getting these, because 24 and 25.6 is unfortunately not the same in this case. Then we have to remember to get the hardware out of the foam here. So they kind of make us aware of that. Yeah, stuff that you need right there. So awesome. A really good thing about these lithium iron phosphate batteries is that they aren't very heavy. They're heavy, but they're not really heavy compared to a lead acid battery. They are very manageable, except when you're limited in space and filming. So naturally, it's a big battery. In the basement, I have 2 rack-mountable Pylontech batteries, and those are 2.4 kilowatt hours of power. And just that 1.6 volt does so that this one is 2560, so 2560 watt hours, which is 160 watt hours more than the ones I have down there. So getting 2 of these batteries to replace the 2 Pylontechs that I have down there is already an improvement of 160 plus 160. That's like 4 good batteries of a laptop fully charged extra. So yeah, and this is produced in, I can't say that, but it's a Chinese battery, more or less all of this stuff is produced in China these days. This one has Bluetooth 5.0, so that's awesome. On the top we get some more stuff, so we're gonna turn it around. Okay, and we got a very nice reflection of my ceiling lamp. Let's see if we can get some data next to that. So, as said, we're dealing with 24.6 volts, 100 amp hours, and that the numbers are here. So that's the nominal value or voltage, rated capacity 100 amp hours, and then they multiply those two numbers and we get this number, and the charging voltage is stated here. So if we were going to charge this with 24 volts, we were actually going to be charging it with about 28.8 volts, and maximum continuous charge discharge current is 100 amps. It's not recommended to do that too much, but it can do it. But if you can charge it slower, that is better. And maximum continuous output power is 2560 watts. So that means that when I'm putting these two in series, I will be able to get 5120 watts out of it, so 5 kilowatt. I don't usually use that much, but it can. So magically the second Redodo battery came out of the box, and this might just be a nice thumbnail. Who knows? I might use it, or I might skip it, or I might... Never mind. Yeah, these two batteries need to go in series to create the 51.2 volts that I need for my inverter in the basement. I'm not gonna get to that today because I'm actually going out on a business trip this coming week, and the old system is very stable and I don't want to mess with it right before I leave. That's bad practice. I work with servers and storage and IT equipment, and you don't make any major changes on a Friday because, well, then you might not get the weekend off. And the same thing here. I'm not gonna start this replacement before I have the time to be near it for some time. But we're gonna go over all the stuff, so you might have some time to actually point me in the right direction if there's something really stupid going on. And don't tell me that I'm gonna burn down my house. It's very well insured. So to make this swap out of batteries that is connected to my house, I have purchased some stuff, and I've actually already messed up. But yeah, it's a bit irritating. I didn't think. I bought a box here, and this is a balancer. It's a device that you put between two batteries like this, and it checks the voltage on both batteries, and it makes sure that the voltage on both batteries are the same. If the voltage is a little bit higher on one of the batteries, it removes a bit of power from the high battery to the low battery, so that everything evens out again. It really does an amazing job and does it very quickly, and when there's nothing to balance, it doesn't do anything. So that is perfect. But I messed up, and I got one that only does 12 volt batteries. Yeah. I thought, well, maybe it will do 24 volt batteries. The manual doesn't say anything about it, but then I figured out, oh, the LED comes off, and I can see that the capacitors in here are rated for 25 volts. And do you remember I said that the charging voltage of these could be 28 point something something? I think it's 28.8 volts. That means that we might just blow the capacities on this thing if we connect it to two 24 volt batteries. So I need to go back and find one that can do more voltage. So that was a waste of money right there. Thank you. Then I want to be able to rather easily connect and disconnect the batteries from the inverter in the basement. And plus I wanted a little bit of safety, so I got some fuse blocks with a disconnect, so it can disconnect. And this one is for 80 amps. I did say that this is 100 amps, but I can actually in the inverter down there tell it that it's not supposed to do more than 80 amps. And right now it's actually set to 80 amps, so I don't have to change anything in the inverter, but I can put this in and it would go at 80 amps. It might be underrated a little bit as long as I only have 2 batteries. As of right now, I've never used 80 amps out of my batteries here, so I think it's good. And if it's not good, this will go and I go down and I press it back in, and that should be fine. And then when I get the next couple of batteries, I put in another one, and then it's 80 amps on each of them, and then they will share the 80 amps, and they should only do about 40 each if the inverter is doing maximum. So yeah, I got 2 of those. I'm gonna put those in from the positive and to the inverter, so that I can disconnect batteries if I need to do something. You can turn off the Pylontech things down there very easily. So yeah, I just thought it's better than unscrewing a terminal up here. The Pylontechs in the basement came with cables, and these cables were rated for 120 amps. So I am gonna do some cables that are rated for about the same, so that the cables are good. And for that, I got this thing. It's a very cheap crimp tool. I'm not gonna be doing a lot of crimping of cables, but this is a very nice and affordable set. So it comes with heat shrink. It comes with a lot of these little eyes. I'm sure these are not the highest quality. It's fine. And then there is the tool itself, which is pretty smart. It's just, it's not a professional one. It's for us home DIY people. But it has the ability to do different crimps. You can see the head here. You can press this, and then you can turn this around, and you have different cable sizes here. So let's go, it can do 10 millimeters, 6, 50, 16, 55, 35, and we're back to 10. So what you do, I think it's 25 that is needed for the 120 amp cables. So you just put them there, and then that size is about right for the cable, and then you crimp on one of those connections. And I would probably crimp it and solder it, because I like a good solder joint. So if I do a bad crimp, the cable won't fall out and make a bad connection, and I just like that. So here in Europe, Germany is one of the largest and prosperous countries, so therefore the manual is available in German. I am not very good at German. Ich spreche nicht sehr gut Deutsch. Aber es ist auch ein Manualen im English, so I'm gonna be more happy with that one. So, and there is everything in this manual that you need. I have gone through it in other videos. Even has the screw terminals and like the sizes of the screws here, and that would be needed if I had bought the battery and I needed to go and purchase these eyes to put on the cable. Well, I need to know how big that size is to get the right stuff for that. And there are so many different kinds here, because the cable size is one and the hole is another one. So we could just see that. Okay, so we have the bolt here that goes, isn't that a bolt? I think it's a bolt. That goes into the battery. It's that thing. And it says that it's like 8 millimeters wide down here, and it's like 16 millimeters high, and there is the American measurements as well. So we need a hole that will fit for that, and there is different holes here. So this one is too small, so that's probably a 6 millimeter. Yeah, it's a 6 millimeter. So we need to go up one, and this one is an 8 millimeter. So I would need to use that one, And when you have a whole set of them like this one, it's not a big issue. You just take one that is a bit bigger. But I might have to go out and purchase the right ones. These are most definitely not the best quality. It was a cheap tool. It's just a bonus that it comes with some. So this is 8mm, but there's also the cable size here, because the cable might be smaller. So this hole also fits on here, but the cable is a lot smaller. So when you go out and purchase these, you need to know both sizes. How big is your cable and how big is your hole? It sounds very dirty, doesn't it? So yeah, never mind. And it comes really small, so this is a there's not a lot of metal there, but it fits, and you can put in a very small cable. This might actually be a 6mm square cable for solar panels. That would fit very well there, but I don't like the amount of metal that is on the side there, so I would like one that was a bit bigger, but it would do some sort of a job here. Here I have the cable that came off the Pylontech down there, and it has a mounting eye here that is rather better quality than these. You might not be able to see it that well, but the metal is thicker here than it is here. It's not by much, but it is by a little bit, so better quality. I mounted one of the eyes on the other end. I haven't crimped it or anything, but it goes on there very well. You naturally need to find the one with the hole that just fits the cable the best. And if you need to be very careful to get all of the strings in there, it's perfect. If it just slides in there, no problem whatsoever, it's probably too big. So this one is probably, that's too small, I expect. Yeah, that doesn't do it. So yeah, I thought I had cable like this, but I actually found that the cable I have is thinner. So here we have the eye that fit very well on the other cable, and there's way too much room for the cable to move around in here. So I need some thicker cable for this project to move forward. So we have already found some stuff that I need some improvement on. I could use this. That's probably the right eye for this cable thickness. It's still a bit wobbly though. It's only page 1 of the manual. On page 2 we get the app for the Bluetooth inside of the battery. I had a lot of issues with last time I did a review of a Redodo. I couldn't get the app to work. It turns out that the battery Bluetooth thing go into kind of a sleep mode when it hasn't been used for a long time. So when you start charging or discharging the battery, it wakes up and then you can access it. I didn't know that. It took me a long time to figure that out. So I already have the app on my phone. It's right there, and it wants me to log in, and yeah, I'll go and figure out what I used there. Okay, I skipped some pages. That was just about all the warnings and the don't do that stuff. Here is all the specs of the battery. If you're interested in building your own battery like this, you might have some question that is answered right here. Like the recommended charging current is like 20 amps. It can do 100, but they recommend if you can hold it at 20, that's a lot better for the battery. And I did mention that earlier, and yeah, it's still true. Not gonna go over everything, but there's a nice chart here so that you can see if you measure the voltage of the batteries. If it says this voltage when the battery is 0, 25, 50, 75 or 100% full. So from 20 to 24 volts it is considered empty. From 25 to 26.3 it's at 25%. From 26.3 to 26.4, which is, it's not a big range because this curve is very flat up here. It's at 50% and yeah, 75% and 100%. So there's not a lot of voltage between 26.66 and 26. So like 660 millivolts determines that it's 100% and not 25%. So then on the next page we actually get cable thicknesses. and these are in AWG, the American way of look at cables, and for us Europeans we get it in millimeters. So if you're gonna go near that 120 amps, that's probably 115. It's still good over the 80 that I'm actually gonna need. Then I need a cable that is 33.6 millimeters, and yeah, that would probably be a 35 millimeter cable though. And here we have, they help us to configure our battery banks. This is what I'm gonna be doing. So there's help there. It's not complicated. You take the two batteries and you connect plus to the minus of the two batteries, and then the two available will give you 51.2 volts. There is different ways on connecting your batteries. If you connect them wrong, you will wear more on one battery than the rest of them. With only two batteries, there are not many options. That's the way to go. If you want to put the batteries in parallel, well, they recommend using a bus bar so that the amperage drawn and charged to the batteries are equal for all of the batteries at the same time. And it becomes more complicated if you have a lot more batteries. And there is more help and more help and more help. It's a really good manual. There's nothing wrong with this manual at all. So, good manual. Okay, so why do I want to replace my batteries? Well, right now I have this solution over here. That's the Pylontech batteries that I have in the basement. They call themselves 48 volt batteries, and when they're very low, like 10%, they're at like 45 volts, and they go up to like 51 volts. That's not the same as 16 cells batteries, and the Redodo batteries, they have like 8 cells in each of them. So when they are put in series, well, they have 16 cells of the lithium iron phosphate batteries of 3.2 volts. So the voltage starts at 48 volts and goes up to 54.4 volts. The nominal value is like the 51.2, which is way lower than where they're actually located. It's like a 12 volt battery. If you measure a 12 volt battery and it is at 12 volt, it's not full. It's more or less very empty. When this one starts and is at 10%, we're at 48 volts. And that isn't too different from over here, but the voltage difference is way bigger in that area. But when the 16 cells comes up to 20%, it's already at 51.6 volts. That's already more than full over here. So it's very difficult to mix and match those two or put those in parallel, because they don't really operate in the same voltage range. This one would charge up, and then this one would charge up, and this one would discharge, and that one would discharge. If it was that simple, it would be okay. Also, a long time ago, I built some batteries out of 18650s. That's actually that column over here, and there the voltage range it's closer to over here. So there's a better chance of mixing this one and that one than that one and that one. So so the reason why I want to change from the 15 cells to the 16 cells, if I want to get some affordable batteries, the Pylontech is really good quality, and therefore they're also kind of expensive. If I want something that is affordable and I can afford more of, I should change to 16 cells, because I can almost get a battery that is twice as big as a Pylontech for the same amount of money, almost. And these nice Redodo batteries, well, with the right discount, I kind of got those two batteries for approximately the same price as one of the Pylontech batteries. Let's go and visit them. I was trying to clean up while on the go, and I just found that these were the one that came with the tool, and I actually have one that is a lot better quality. And yeah, so I do have, and it says what's on here. So this is for 35 millimeter cable, and it has an 8 millimeter hole. That's very helpful. So very nice. We have 35mm cable and 10mm hole. So yeah, it's better quality is available even in a set that tells you what you got. So the Redodo batteries has moved into the basement, and they're sitting right here having a good view of the inverter and the two Pylontech batteries that are gonna be replaced because, well, I purchased the wrong technology. I thought these would be good. They will probably, if I keep buying those, they will be good. They are good. They're working very well. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just, it's gonna be more expensive if I don't change them now. If I keep going that route, I'm gonna regret it every time I have to cough up a new battery. Better do it as soon as possible. And that is where these Redodo batteries comes into play. I used to have a lot of these lead acid batteries sitting down here. I had like a 24 kilowatt hour battery of lead acid batteries, but these are old used UPS batteries and they have like 15 years on them easily. So they're not, actually they're nearing 20 years. So they're most definitely not great anymore. They're quite useless. So when I get back from my business trip, we're gonna be mounting these two batteries and we're gonna be disconnecting the two Pylontech batteries, and we're gonna be cleaning up somewhere and putting them on the shelf. And before anyone tells me that I shouldn't put them on the floor because they will blah 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 blah, that is an old story from the start of the 1900s when lead acid batteries were built in glass jars and would actually leak through the ground. They don't do that. That bullshit is from before plastic was invented. So stop typing. I have looked it up multiple times, but I need to do a bit of cleaning and figure out if I want them over here or if I want them over there. Yeah, it's a very big decision, but we're gonna be most definitely doing another video. I should just measure the voltage on them to make sure that they're all good. Let's do that. Okay, I didn't mention they come with some very nice protective plastic things. I actually don't have to remove them. They have made them with a hole in the middle of them, so you can measure the voltage through it if the probe is long enough. I do believe it is. So this battery is at 3.3 volts, and I expected that. And I did tell you that it was at a sleep mode, so we're gonna try and wake it up. I don't know if this works. I haven't tried it before, but I have a little resistor thing here and a couple of alligator clips. So we're just gonna connect here. It's probably not gonna do a whole lot, but there. Let's see if that was enough to wakey. That way. No, we need something more. Okay, another resistor just to draw some power. I don't know, I might need to charge it to live it. Yeah. It definitely did something, but it didn't wake the battery up. I think it needs to have a charge coming in to wake up. So it's not as if I don't have some electronics to play around with. So it's not woken up yet. It's at 3.3 volts. Well, we have a laboratory power supply sitting right. So I should be able to tell that to give out. It says charging voltage of 28.8 volts. We're gonna set it to 28. There. And then we're gonna limit the amperage. Oh shit, got a shot there. That's an amp. That is perfect. I didn't get it electrocuted, but I got a shock with this box. I wasn't expecting them to be that big. So we're gonna look at the meter over here. There, can we see that in the camera? Checking. Kind of, we're kind of good. So I can put those in here. We get 3.3 volts, and then we'll just charge it a little bit, see if it wakes up. It should. Yep. It woke up. Look at that. So it's in the... You need to charge it just a little bit for it to wake up when you get it. Oh, and now I disconnected it so we can't see it, that it's actually having a voltage. I don't think we need to do the other one. It should be about the same. But now I can connect to it in my app. Okay, at the moment the app does not really want to return the verification code for me, but I want to thank Redodo for shipping this battery to me and letting me review it. I'm gonna be doing one more video at least when I install this, and I already know some stuff that I need to purchase. Even if it's not as heavy as lead acid, it is still heavy. I would really like a balancer for 24 volt batteries. Need to go and Google that, see if that is available. And I will probably need some thicker cable as well to connect it. If you're in the market for batteries, it doesn't need to be batteries for powering your house. 12 volt, 24 volt battery. Well, Redodo has Black Friday offers right now, so you could get them a bit cheaper. So do go and check out the link in the description and see if they have the battery for you at the price that you want to pay for it. So thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so you can see me again and have a really nice day. Yeah, that was fast. Bye bye.